You know what's fascinating? Studies show the average person spends 47 years of their life in constant motion, yet 68% report never feeling truly rested. Today, we're exploring why rest might actually be the most radical act of resistance in our modern world.
That's such a striking statistic, and it really connects with this ancient wisdom from Hebrews we're looking at. The way it describes people standing right at the edge of rest, but somehow unable to step into it. That feels incredibly relevant to our current hustle culture, doesn't it?
Well, what really caught my attention was this powerful image of the Israelites literally standing at the threshold of their promised rest, but being unable to step forward. You know, it's like us today. We can see the rest we need, it's right there, but something holds us back. The text suggests it's not external circumstances stopping us. It's trust.
Hmm. That makes me think about how recent studies show that even when people have vacation time, about 55% of Americans don't use all of it. What do you think is behind that reluctance?
You know, I think it comes down to this deeply ingrained belief that we have to earn everything. Research shows that workplace productivity has increased by 253% since 1948, but our wages and rest time haven't kept pace. We've somehow convinced ourselves that constant motion equals success.
That's exactly where this ancient text seems so relevant. It's suggesting something completely counterintuitive, that rest isn't something we achieve through more effort, but something we receive by letting go.
Right. And here's what's fascinating about the Sabbath concept it mentions. Modern neuroscience actually backs this up. Studies show that regular periods of complete rest increase creativity by 33% and problem-solving abilities by 23%. It's like our brains are literally wired for this rhythm of work and rest.
Well, that's interesting because most people today view rest as this luxury they can't afford. Though I have to wonder, how realistic is this kind of rest in our modern world?
That's actually a crucial question. Because look at the data. Workplace stress costs American companies about $300 billion annually. The text isn't suggesting we completely check out of life, but rather that we fundamentally shift how we view our relationship with work and rest. It's proposing this radical idea that our worth isn't tied to our productivity.
The way you describe that makes me think about how countercultural this message really is. We live in a world that celebrates constant productivity, yet here's this ancient wisdom suggesting that true strength might be found in stillness and trust.
And you know what's particularly fascinating? When we look at high-performing athletes, they actually spend about 80% of their training time in recovery. It's completely inverting our normal understanding of strength. Instead of pushing harder, doing more, being stronger, it's suggesting that real strength might come from knowing when to stop.
Those are some compelling numbers. But I'm curious, how do you think this kind of rest actually looks in practice? Because it's one thing to understand these concepts intellectually, but another to actually live them out.
Well, research shows that even micro breaks of 10 minutes can increase productivity by 50%. I think it starts with small decisions, choosing to take actual breaks during the day, setting boundaries around work hours. But it's also about bigger choices, learning to say no, accepting our limitations. Studies indicate that multitasking can reduce productivity by up to 40%.
You know, that reminds me of that beautiful image from Psalm 23 that the text references, being led beside still waters. There's something so peaceful about that picture.
Yes, and here's something fascinating. Sheep physically can't drink from rushing water. They need still waters to drink safely. In the same way, studies show that constant stress reduces our ability to process information by up to 57%. Maybe we need to create still spaces to truly be nourished.
That's such an insightful observation. It makes me think about how our constant motion might actually be counterproductive, not just to our rest, but to our growth and well being too.
Exactly, and recent research backs this up. Companies that implement regular rest periods report a 37% decrease in burnout and a 21% increase in job satisfaction. The text suggests this isn't just about personal well-being, it's about our entire understanding of who we are.
That's such a radical message for our achievement oriented culture. But I wonder, what would it actually look like if more people embraced this kind of rest?
Well, looking at the data, Countries with stronger rest cultures, like Denmark and Norway, consistently rank highest in both productivity and happiness indices. I believe we'd see less burnout, certainly, but I think we'd also see something more profound. Studies show that regular rest periods can increase emotional intelligence by 23% and improve relationship satisfaction by 31%.
Those numbers really drive home how much our current approach might be costing us, not just in productivity, but in quality of life.
And that's where this message becomes really powerful. It's suggesting that rest isn't just about what we stop doing. It's about what we start experiencing when we stop. Research shows that regular periods of rest can increase creativity by up to 45% and improve decision-making by 28%. The text presents this as a crucial choice, one that not everyone makes.
That brings us full circle to where we started, with people standing at the edge of rest, but hesitating to step in. It really makes you think about where in our own lives we might be doing the same thing.
You know what's particularly powerful about this? It's not just offering a critique of our restless culture, it's offering a solution. Studies show that companies implementing regular rest periods see a 40% reduction in stress-related health costs. We don't have to keep running. We can choose to trust. We can choose to rest. And the data suggests that when we do, everyone benefits.